Hi viewers, welcome to Vision Matters. Today our guest from New Zealand, Dr. Siham El Kafafi. She is a lecturer and business consultant and expert of teaching and learning. Welcome, Dr. Kafafi.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining to this program, and I am really glad to see you in this program. So, as we understand, as I explained to you also, like in this pandemic, especially COVID-19, could you give us your experience from New Zealand?
Thank you very much, Dr. Dab, for your introduction, and thank you for inviting me to be part of your YouTube channel, Vision Matters. To reply to your question, I would like first to introduce to you the New Zealand alert system, which has been developed by the government in order to deal with the coronavirus pandemic. Here in New Zealand, we have four levels that has been developed by the government. And these are alert systems that informs people how to deal with the restrictions and the limitations that is to do with limiting their human contact, their travel, and their business operations. And once I finish those four levels, introducing them, then I am going to talk about the impact of this pandemic on education and business at our part of the world. So in alert level, which is called the lockdown, and this actually started here in New Zealand on the 25th of March after midnight, and it was the duration for 4 weeks, but it extended a couple of more days. And during that lockdown, all businesses were shut down except the essential businesses and their own bubbles. And what do we mean by bubbles here was that people were asked that night of the 25th March, whoever was in your house, this is going to be your bubble for the whole duration of the lockdown. And nobody from outside to actually come in contact with your bubble. Of course, people could go out within their own areas and communities only. Started going out walking. The only time we could go out was for essentials, grocery shopping, going to the GP, or the essential workers, of course, who had to go to work. Then after that, what happened is that on the 27th of April, we went down to level 3, which is called restrict. And the government announced that this is for 2 weeks. And we are actually still on that level 3. In this level, the only difference between it and the lockdown is that our bubble managed to extend a little bit. So if somebody needed caregivers to be included, or one more person to be added to the bubble, but we have to be very careful. Some of the businesses also opened at level 3. So for example, the restaurants and the takeaways were functioning at that time. Also with being careful with the social distancing of 2 meters. And yesterday, the government announced that we are going to go down to level 2. And the reason behind that was the consistency of the decrease in the number of the COVID-19 cases. So for example, right now, we have 1,497 individuals who were infected with the COVID-19. We have only 2 people in the hospital. A week ago, we had 2 days with no cases. Today, there was no cases. And the other thing also is that 93% of those infected recovered. So that's why the government decided that we are going to transition gradually into level 2 alert. So from Thursday, this coming Thursday, the 14th of May, some businesses are going to be open, like malls, like cinemas, On Monday, the 18th of May, the schools will be open. On Thursday, the 21st of May, the rest of the other businesses will be opened. Of course, there are rules, the regulations, there are certain restrictions. We have to keep with the social distancing. Another example is no gathering for more than 10 people, but the domestic travel has been open. We're going to stay on level 3 for 2 weeks, and then it is going to be revisited. Then after that, leaves us with alert 1 level, which is prepare. And in this level, it's going to be when New Zealand feels that the whole of COVID-19 has been actually contained.
Right.
So during this part of the lockdown that we went through, the government provided a lot of support so that people would be able to stay at home. There are lots of people who, of course, lost their livelihood. A lot of organizations shut down. So in order to minimize from this sudden devastating change, the government started providing businesses with financial support to give subsidies for their employees, whether they were full-timers or part-timers. They started also extended visas for the students. They also extended, they deferred mortgages.
Yeah.
You know, and these are some examples.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. I think it's very explicit answer. That's good to understand how this certain thing controlled by New Zealand government and from your experience. Now, as you are obviously teaching and expert of learning and teaching in New Zealand, how could you see there is a challenges and opportunity for e-learning, especially distance learning, online teaching, and how you cope with these things? Could you just briefly explain to us?
Yes, as you all know, it is not only in New Zealand, but all over the world. Education is the backbone of the society. And the good thing here that happened is that although this sudden change happened and all schools and universities shut down, but immediately they just moved to the online learning in order to minimize the disturbing for the students. But they met, of course, some challenges. So some people were not used to, online. They were used to face-to-face support. Some of the students lacked motivation. There were some concerns about quality assurance. Some students, due to costs, did not have computers, no broadband. Some lacked structure. Some required more discipline. And most importantly is that there was not a lot of catering for students with disabilities and impairments. We were all launched into it, and lots of people lacked actually the technical training on the devices. But having said that, there were also benefits for online learning. So it actually helped the learners to be more self-regulated, to adapt to the online community, to become more reflective and think critically, learn about time management, efficiency, etiquette in how to deal, for example, with online meetings, also to collaborate with classmates. We were in a lockdown and nobody can go out of their bubble, but that was an excellent opportunity to share and to learn new tools and technologies and save time, save travel. So I believe that from this experience, that shows us there is an importance for online learning that universities and schools should take. Some actually of those organizations, learning organizations, are already using these hybrid learning strategies. Because it's extremely important for students that will help them in their future. And using all these next generation technologies, augmented realities, artificial intelligence, virtual reality. But having said that, we cannot also minimize from the importance of the teachers, facilitators, and their big role in online learning.
Thank you. So I think, yeah, that is really good input that you are saying, like in hybrid learning, and people are doing a lot of different things for this pandemic. Now, from your understanding, obviously, as you can see, there is a lot of thing happening, a lot of good thing, bad thing. And what is the like in changing, or what is actually something that resulting for this pandemic, like an uncertainty, or do you think this teaching and learning will be continue and people will be go back to mostly in online, or what sort of result, what sort of uncertainty you can see more may be coming in front of us?
Thank you very much, Dr. Daba, for the question. Actually, this issue is extremely important because it is also related to the economical impact that's happening here, which is affecting the education system. So if we are going to look in general on the economists all over the globe, they are trying actually to see the post-COVID economic recovery globally. How's it going to be? So they are trying to discuss, is it going to be a V-shape, which is a quick rebound to normality? Is it going to be a U-shape, which is longer period to rebound to normality? Or is it going to be an L-shaped, which is even a longer period to go back? We're going to be going through a recession, which is totally different than the recession that we went through in 2008, 2009, which was driven by a financial crisis, the financial institution collapse. The one that we're going to be dealing with now is going to be more with the people flows and immigration and tourism. Here in New Zealand, our biggest exports are dairy, wine, foreign tourism, and students. So in relation to dairy and wine, that will recover quicker than the foreign tourism and students. Especially that our government strategy is actually to completely eradicate COVID-19. So if we're going to look at the figures, the international education here in New Zealand constitutes 5.1 million, which why it makes it the fourth largest export in New Zealand.
Thank you. Very good.
4.8 million is attributed to the international students visiting New Zealand. 0.3 billion is to education and training goods and services that is delivered offshore. So as you can see, we are not sure when are we going to have a vaccine. When is it going to be available? When can we open our borders for international travel? And these are some of real things that we're grappling with nowadays. But I am definite that online learning is here to stay, not to go.
Yeah.
Because from that experience, it did help us in a crisis. It turned a crisis to an opportunity. So it is here to stay, not to go.
Yeah, thank you. I think, yeah, that is really absolutely what you bring to this. I think uncertainty actually make the real picture that tourism, student, coming, and what are the immigration, probably this teaching and learning, it will not be actually changing. So that's good. Now,
I think it's becoming more popular, and lots of people are getting more taste of it.
Yes.
So it can be a solution for lots of things, for connecting the whole globe together.
Excellent. Yeah, my final and last question is actually, obviously, really you are bringing so many things from New Zealand, especially from lesson that we are learning from this pandemic. Do you have any special or special things to say to the world? That what lesson actually we learn in this pandemic? You look at it, all this stop, people are in home, and most of the country affected. So what message or you want to say to the world, and what lesson we learn actually, if you can talk very briefly Thank you.
Yes. Well, Dr. Daba, I believe that the whole globe, the whole world is a tiny village, and human beings are human beings all over the world. And that pandemic united all of us, and all of us shared the same lessons, I believe. The first and most important thing actually was to minimize from the food waste. We have to be careful. There are about 815 million approximately people in the whole world who are going hungry. So we have to purchase our needs or freeze food to minimize from waste, or give and donate to food banks. That's the most important lesson. And then after that is to support our local producers, you know, our shops, our businesses. Here in New Zealand, there are lots of people who actually grow their own fruits and vegetables. When I got this house, the first thing that I did is I planted 6 fruit trees. Several of my friends, actually, they are self-sufficient. They are growing their own fruits and vegetables. Okay? The other thing also that we learned from the lockdown, when we were living in our communities and we were restricted on using cars or going outside, lots of people, you can find them walking around and using bikes, which was very good physical exercise. Less pollution, less usage of fuel. So I hope that that stays also after the COVID-19. Slowing down, listening to the beautiful sound of the birds, less stress, better health, and also the importance of being supportive to each other, being connected in our communities to our nature and the whole global world. And the most important thing is the technology and how technology served us, like Zoom that we're using, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, all those little apps that facilitated this connectivity, and also working from home, education online, entertainment, no traffic jam, more productive meetings, more efficient timekeeping. Also, people become more resourceful. All those little videos that we used to receive on WhatsApp and light-hearted or informative or educative, or people who started baking, crafts, having time with the family, that was wonderful. I hope it continues. And also, most importantly, finally, is appreciating those essential workers who went out in order to keep us safe and risked themselves and their times. So, kia kaha, New Zealand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really, Dr. El Kafafi, I think you bring a lot of information from New Zealand for the world, and I think your inside thought and what you were saying to us, especially the finishing conversation was fantastic that you were saying. We have to love with the less nature. We have to be more connectivity with the people. The technology is actually making us more closer, and we are learning a lot of things, and still we are learning. I think that is actually something that you already put in the conversation, and I want to thank you again that how you are actually experience being to us, and hoping to see you again sometime. And I hope you will stay and stay well and take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Daba. God bless you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks.